Hello, fellow gardeners. Well, we're bringing you a little update on the tub that we mentioned a couple of weeks ago about where we put two pipe in the bottom of it, one on top of the other one to hold more water. And I forgot to tell you to drill your hole at 7 inches over into the top pipe. So you got a 4-inch pipe and a 4-inch pipe. That makes 8 inches. You drill the hole in at 7 inches, and that way you can hold 7 inches of water in there. You don't have to water as often. And also, besides drilling that hole in there and putting a little 1/2-inch PVC over into your pipe to keep it from stopping up, on the other side you put your fill pipe in, which is out of 1 inch or 1.25 inches, and you cut it at a bevel at a 45 on the end so it can still run out of it. Yes, you put that pipe down into the bottom pipe. If you put it in the top, it's okay. It's no problem. You just can't reach down in there and see how much water you've got with a dowel pin if you put it in the top one. If you put it all the way to the end of the bottom one, down to the bottom of the barrel of the tub, then you can drop a dowel pin in and raise that and see how much water you got in there. I'm just trying to catch up on a few things that people have called and asked me about that I missed in the video. Now, here we are. This is in almost the 1st of October. It will be the 1st here next week. You'll see this on Sunday, the last Sunday of September. We're transitioning into fall. It's starting to get pretty cool at nights here in southern Oklahoma. It gets pretty hot in the daytime, but up in the 89, 90, not like 105 or 6 like it was. So it's time to start thinking about your fall crops. Most of you, your tomatoes and stuff like that are probably over with. Your peppers are probably still producing heavy, so leave them in until it freezes, or either maybe on some nights it's going to freeze a little. You can throw a blanket or a quilt over the top of that plant just for that night or two that it's real cold, and then it warms back up. You can take it back off, and sometimes we get by plumb on into Thanksgiving sitting outside if you protect them just a few nights. But anyway, you'll keep them peppers are growing. I don't know what else you'd still have growing in there. I mean, your tomatoes are mostly over with by now. Might have some cherry tomatoes.
You're talking southern Oklahoma.
I'm talking southern Oklahoma. Now, you probably up north, you probably done lost your tomatoes from cold weather, I imagine. And on down into Texas, they still got tomatoes growing down there some. I even had a man walk in the garden center today and said he had about 20 tomato plants that was up about 3 or 4 foot tall that was just as green as they could be and was starting to bloom and get good again. So keep them going as long as you can. I mean, if something happens, it does freeze real hard before you get to harvest ripe tomatoes. You can take those green tomatoes and make green relish out of them, or something like that, or chow chow. There's ways to use them green tomatoes, or if they're getting pretty mature, you can pick them green tomatoes and wrap them in newspaper and put them in the box under the bed, in the bedroom where it kind of stays warm, not real hot. And then you can pull them out and check them about once a week, and you can find them where they've turned red. So you can do that. We used to do that when I was a kid all the time. We had tomatoes plumb on up into January because Daddy picked big old green tomatoes and wrapped them in newspaper, and we put them in boxes under the beds. So there's ways you can do this, but lots of people make relish and chow chow out of green tomatoes. Okay, we're just going to talk about, if your tubs are finished up with your tomatoes and all, and you're ready to store them till next spring, then pull all your old plants out. We leave the roots in there. We cut them off a lot of time right at the top of the ground and leave them in there, and they just rot through the winter. And then next spring, you can get a hold of those roots, those stems, and with a pair of pliers or something, and you can jerk them out, and usually the roots come loose right out of the ground because them others have already rotted into the potting mix that you have there in your tubs. I'm going to tell you, those roots, they go all the way to the bottom of that tub into that water. I promise you that. Back this last spring when we pulled our pansies out from being in there all winter, you know, you wouldn't think pansy plants would go, you know, 2 foot deep, but that's what we got them in, those big fiberglass bathtubs, and we have them planted up here. It's over 2 foot deep, that tub is, and when I went to start digging, I went plumb to the bottom of that tub, and there's roots all down around them pipes. So they're going to go after that water. So now if you're going to store these tubs, a lot of them ask me, do I need to dry them out? Or, you know, as long as you have got a fill pipe in that tub down to the bottom of that tub, it will not freeze and burst, even if you've got water in there, because that pipe keeps it from freezing. Now, if you don't have a fill pipe in and you just got, you know, water down in the bottom, then I'm not saying it can freeze. It can't freeze them. It could freeze them. I don't think it will with them 2 pipes going around in the bottom of the tub. But you can always turn those things over on the side and let them drain for a half a day or a day, and then set them back up and then stack them together, you know, and cover them with a tarp or something. We never do here in southern Oklahoma. We always just let them sit as they are, and they never freeze and burst. But you know, now then, another thing some people are asking me, what about if you're going to transition now from tomato plants and you're ready to grow your greens like lettuce and spinach and kale and cauliflower and broccoli? Yes, what we do, we pull the old tomato plant out, and then we dig out about 3 or 4 inches of that potting mix that's kind of packed down in there, and we take that out and put it in a tub or a bucket, and then we add those 5 dry and fertilizer ingredients back in on there. They ask me how often you do that. We do it every crop. In other words, if we do a crop of tomatoes in the spring till fall, and then in the fall we're going to do greens over the winter, we put that fertilizer, that dry fertilizer in there in the fall, and then next spring we will do it again before we put our tomatoes or peppers or whatever, corn or whatever we're going to grow in there, okra. Anyway, we use them 5 dry ingredients in there, and if you need to know what that is, if you'll text me, my number is 580-564-5909, or you can text Sherry that runs the garden center for us, 580-564-2166. Either one of us will be glad to text you a copy of the fertilizer requirements. If you need a paper copy sent to you, mailed to you, if you'll text or call Sherry at the garden center, she will email you one, or she'll mail you a paper one free of charge to your address, so you can have that paper and look and study what it says. And we can usually save you money on your fertilizer if you're trying to buy it online, because there's a couple, 3 of those people that's claiming they're Leon's greenhouses, and they're not, but they're selling you fertilizer at about $20 a pound. Ours is nothing like that. We've got some of it, you can ask Sherry, but it's mostly $3 and $4 a pound on our fertilizer. So don't let them people scam you on that fertilizer thinking you're getting a good deal by charging, you know, $30 or $40 for 2 little old pounds of fertilizer. Call Sherry. Huh?
Shipping costs.
Yeah, and shipping costs, we ship is just as cheap as we can. We don't charge you anything for boxing and sitting it into the freight. That's all coming off us. We do charge you the shipping, but it's minimal to what some people charge. Okay, I think I've talked about everything I want to talk about, except now if you want to put pansies in this winter in some of your tubs, it's time, you know, and you got them empty, it's time to do that. You can get your pansies at your chain stores or garden centers or some greenhouse and put them in there, and they last all winter long. Here in southern Oklahoma and northern Texas, we have them. They might quit flowering a little while if we get down to real, you know, low 5 degrees or something like that. They may freeze down to the ground and not bloom, but then when it warms up in the next spring, they'll come right back up. I know Judy and I, we'll come home for Christmas and they're froze completely to the ground. We come back in next spring, and here they are about 6 inches tall, just solid bloom, and she thought we was losing them, but they come right back and made so pretty. So you can use pansies in the wintertime. And if you like this video, punch the button, ring the bell, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, because that helps us with our children's department. And I'll talk about that next time, about getting these seeds back to us that the kiddos have been raising. All right. Thank y'all for watching. We'll see you next video.